Everything seems to work. Self-promotion. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so welcome to the CorrelAidX Pecha Kucha session. I'm very excited for this session, actually. So I'm Isabel. I work as a community manager, and one of my main activities is to do the coordination of our local chapters. So I don't know if you attended yesterday's CorrelAidX presentation challenge session where CorrelAidX local chapters already showed some of their work, but there's actually so much more that the CorrelAidX chapters are doing. And within the next hour, we will hear and gain insights of the diverse activities from our local chapters in Berlin, Bremen, Hamburg, Munich, Paris, the Netherlands, Konstanz, the Rhein-Main region, Mannheim, and they all present their work in a Pecha Kucha format. And then we also have a very short call for participants from our local chapters in Cologne and Switzerland, which are in the process of being funded right now. So pretty new local chapters. But well, what is this Pecha Kucha thing all about? So it's 20 slides, each shown for 20 seconds. So it's going to be a very dynamic session. If you're interested in joining one of the local chapters, feel free to reach out to us or to them. Or also join us tomorrow morning for the CorrelAidX session at 10:15. And I already see Sylvi here, so I will admit her to the video section. And she will be our first presenter, showing what the Great Berlin local chapter is doing. So Sylvi, good luck.
Is this the kickoff? Okay, then let me quickly share my screen.
Perfect. Okay, let's see.
Can you see the slides now?
Yeah. Can you see? Perfect. Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, so you saw the slide. So it's about our first year. Let me go over. So yeah, do it yourself spirit, brainstorm it and make it happen. That's kind of something that applies to all of CorrelAid. And through this talk, I'll show what we made happen in this first year. So there'll be 4 pillars and a couple of key insights that we had. So pillar number 1 is that we meet regularly. We used to meet with pizza and beer every month at where the cause and effect people had their co-working space. And now we meet virtually on Zoom. So this is a snapshot of us at our meeting in October. So you can also do this virtually. And we brainstormed how we want to do our monthly meeting. And here you can see the agenda of our meeting in like an abstract form. So there's 2 parts. There's part 1, what's new. It's about an hour. And then there's part 2, which is an open space, which is also about an hour. And so the talk here will go through most of the things on our on our agenda. And so you see there's lots of items. So one key insight that we had is to keep it short and speedy, but still kind of try to involve everyone. So for instance, our introduction round of welcoming everyone, also new people, is done by breakout rooms where we allocate 3 people into randomly, and then they can chat and talk. And insight number 2 is also that we try to involve everyone in our monthly meetings. So it's kind of something where you can take away something. It's not only that you're informed on organizational stuff, but it's really hands-on. So recently we introduced a lightning talk for that, where someone kind of gives insights on a problem he or she just recently solved. So just a few words about who is us. I'll be saying a lot of us in this talk. So far we are 117 people in our Slack channel of LC Berlin. And we actually also have 8 different sub-Slack channels for different topics, which you'll see later on as well. And so we saw that there's a lot of interesting and awesome people in our group, and we very quickly realized that there's not really things we have to do yet. So because projects don't really fall from the sky, we decided to make our own and coined the term internal projects. And so now come a few slides on possible internal projects, or the ones that we did. So the first one is on gender and mobility. This was inspired by our book club, where we read a book on gender and data. And you can see that the project kind of produced interesting graphs showing that transportation patterns of men and women really are different. Another internal project was participating in a driven data challenge. So Driven Data is another platform like Hegel, but it does data for good challenges. And this one was to kind of use computer vision to make out on a map where there's buildings and where there's not, for kind of if there's an earthquake, to see whether the building is still there or not afterwards. Another internal project was the CorrelAidX challenge. And so there's been a lot said about this, but we participated as well as Berlin and are now seeing whether we could perhaps turn this internal project also into an external project. And that kind of leads over to the other project types that we have. We've had a couple of external projects. Here you can see a snapshot of an ongoing one with Mandatsrechner.de, where we're trying to visualize what the reform to the voting scheme in Germany might do to the parliament. A second external project was with Denkmalkultur e.V., which was not basically in Berlin, but in the outskirts of Berlin in rural Brandenburg, where they want to find out what you can do to make rural life worth living for the elderly. And a final external project that we're involved in just very recently is with Together for Future. And there we had a team who supported the digital campaign and tried to kind of monitor how that went for the climate strike in be working with Together for Future more in the future too. And then a third pillar is our events, mainly the signature kind of event type of Correlate the Data dialogue, which in June for the first time we also did online. And here you can see a snapshot of the crowd that kind of turned out for that data dialogue. A second event type that we do regularly is our book club, where we read papers or books that we think are interesting for us as data scientists interested in the common good. And sometimes from that we are inspired to projects as well. So a third insight is that we don't only brainstorm and do, but we also do and tweet. So here you can see one of the tweets that we did on the Driven Data Challenge, and we were lucky enough to be retweeted as well. So this is kind of like trying to spread the word of what we do to a more broader audience. A fourth insight is what the LC Berlin chapter does. We do in blog, again, to kind of spreading the word, also within the CorrelAid community. So here you can see the blog post on the data dialogue, which kind of takes you through the process of how to organize the online data dialogue within CorrelAid. And fifth, we do and we document meticulously. So here you can see a snapshot of our Git book, where we have all the notes from all our monthly meetings, and we keep short little project descriptions. So that comes very handy for people who just want to browse or if you prepare a Pecha Kucha. And finally, the fourth pillar of LC Berlin is to socialize, to connect, and to be creative. And we also try to do that in an online setting in the Zoom calls. So yeah, that was it from my side. And
perfect timing, everything so smooth. Thanks a lot, Sylvi. Great. Okay, then you are free to leave the stage. And of course, people who are interested in the amazing work the Berlin chapter is doing, reach out to Sylvi, Alex, and Liam, right? But you can find the team on the website. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye, see you. Okay, so up next is Lukas from Bremen, who will present the Bremen's chapter's work. Yeah, Lukas, you can start, try to share your screen, and as soon as you're ready, I leave you here.
Okay.
Okay, let's check. That looks good.
Okay, so very nice.
So you can, yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thanks. Thank you, Sylvi, for the nice presentation about the local chapter work in Berlin. My name is Lukas. I'm going to give you some insights of our local chapter work in Bremen. And yeah, I'm a political science student, interested in R and data and statistics, obviously. And yeah, you might know Bremen from the strategy meeting in 2019. On the very left, there is Henrik, our founding member, and normally representing the local chapter at conventions or other CorrelAid stuff. And yeah, so the CorrelAid mission is to do voluntary data projects with NPOs and NGOs, obviously, but we also share this mission or this goal at the local chapter and try to give it like a local touch. And yeah, so you might wonder, why do we have a local chapter in Bremen? So yeah, I added some memes to address the situation, but after this talk, I hope that you see some distinctive features of our local work here. But obviously, this is nothing against CorrelAid at all, and not just some funny pictures or memes on this side. Yeah, some facts to the foundation of the local chapter. Yeah, it was launched in end of 2018 after a kickoff event. Currently, there are around 40 people subscribing the mailing list, and yeah, mainly we do local projects and local events, obviously. Here you see a picture of a strategy meeting in early 2020. That's me on the very left side. We had a talk with Martin Holy, who is a project manager from the Faculty of Economics at the university, and there we discussed how we can increase and broaden our local impact and our local events. So yeah, regarding this, we have a few partners in Bremen. One of the most important is Mehr Demokratie, a very important institution when it comes to direct democracy and citizen participation in Germany. They also hosted the Bürgerrat, a citizen participation model, which is also applied in other countries in Europe. Yeah, there are two projects. First project, local, which is called Part 1, and the follow-up project, Part 2. So they are very similar. Both deal with donation event data from a fundraising database. And yeah, currently I'm also involved in the second project, so Demokratie Part 2. Here you're seeing a picture of a meetup in the office in Bremen. So there are also volunteering people engaged with people from Mehr Demokratie. So we try to have a direct impact on our local partners. Yeah, so the project can be roughly described with the aim in improving donation campaigns. So it concerns the response rate for donation letters and saving costs for port and developing, and it is achieved through supervised learning models in order to predict donation probabilities based on past donation events. Yeah, another important partner is, or another important institution affiliated to Bremen is the VObserver project. It is initially a collaboration between the local chapters Bremen and Rhein-Main. And yeah, so they're also both local chapters connected to each other. It is, I think there was a previous talk about this today, so you might know something about the project itself already. So it is also a citizen science project, so it has some, so it is also connected to, so it's about sensor data and, for example, humidity, weight, audio, etc. I thought, I also saw that there are some more details given in the previous talk, and it's also noteworthy that there was a master thesis generated by this project. It's also in order to identify risk for bee populations in beehives, and can also be achieved through machine learning models. So it is similar to the Mehr Demokratie technical procedure. Yeah. So after our strategy meeting in 2030, we decided to broaden our local impact, and therefore we discussed how we can shape our local meetups and events. And one important is that we also do community building events. So we're going to a bar, or we did go to a bar, for example, and meeting with each other with data-related issues and also non-data related issues for private stuff. But yeah, we are very proud of one specific event. It is called the Data Meetup. It is also affiliated to the university. It's also an official university event. So students who are interested can find this event and participate with us. So we deal with data issues. Some people are presenting some scripts or have come with problems to this meetup. And yeah, that is the screenshot from the university website. So it is pretty nice. It started in October 2019 and is obviously a regular peer learning event at the university. The schedule is that we meet once a month, and yeah, so For example, I once gave a talk about a self-written package/function, how to scrape data from Wikipedia. And yeah, it is aimed at beginners and advanced users of R and Python. It is somewhat R-related since we have a heavy social science background in Bremen. And since the outbreak of COVID-19, we do online meetups, for example, with Liubov, Zoom, or Slack. And it's also some insights that real-world data, which we obviously have to deal with, is somewhat more complicated than iris and empty cast. So it is, I mean, for the R user community here, and coding on the weekend can be somewhat frustrating, but in the end, it is great fun for everyone, I think, who's participating. And yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, you can write us a mail, subscribe to the local newsletter, or even join our Telegram group. And yeah, thanks for your attention so far, and I hope you gave some nice insights of local work with local events and local project partners. So thanks, everyone. I think I'm done here.
Thank you so much, Lukas, for the nice presentation. Okay, so up next is now Liubov. We hope her internet connection is stable enough, so cross your fingers. So yeah, you can leave the stage, Lukas.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, reach out to the Bremen chapter team. You can find their contact details as well on the website. So let's see if Liubov. Yeah. Hi. Can you? We can hear you. That's already great. So you can also try to share your screen. Let's see if that works.
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen. I am doing that right now. Okay. Yes. Okay. So normally you should see the presentation.
Yeah, we can see it. So let's see if it works. If you put it in presentation mode.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I hope you can see now, right? Okay.
Looks good. Okay.
So, yes. So what I will present here is a small story about the CorrelAidX France chapter and also the friends of ours, because we are the chapter which collaborated a lot with the and different organizations. And who we are, we started as a real chapter, so we were really literally based in Paris. But then when COVID started, we quite quickly converged to the virtual chapter. So after COVID-19, we, I think as many other chapters mentioning, right, we had many online events and never met actually again in real life. But we do exist virtually, and we have the GitHub and the other projects which are running, which are documented there. So you're really invited to check out if there is something useful for you. And also, as Lukas mentioned, also we do work on the citizen science project, which I will dive in a second. So we started as a chapter from 4 people with Katarina, Vivian, Mariana, and me. And then we quite quickly decided that, okay, we will meet in different places wherever possible offline, but COVID kind of really made it not possible. So we decided that we will make online events. And that's also when the project on the citizen science with UCL London started. And you see here also the people who are participating, whom I'm really grateful for their actual interest in this project, because it raised a lot of attention for basically it's kind of data science and not only questions related to the social good and influence on that. Then we decided that we can also do not only data science projects, but we can also work on some offline events. So with Jogo here in Paris, we organized the hackathons and offline events before COVID started. And basically we have 3 different projects. One of them, three different directions. One of them is more oriented on education, on health data analysis, and more towards analysis of healthy cities, so to say. And most of our focus now is dedicated to this healthy city and analysis of health data. So the project on the health, it was called My AI Guide. Maybe some of you know it, and I'm really grateful for Olivia for actually arranging and making it happen with Free. They did a lot of work on that. and there is open data resources on pain patients there. We also started recently, like 3 weeks ago, the Citizen Science project. So that's what we actually started to work on. And again, for this, you can also check the repository, which is there available, and reach out for people who have the data if you're interested to work on this. It was more time series analysis. Now we are basically 10 in the project, which is started in citizen science analysis of iNaturalist platform data, which was enabled again thanks to common effort with CorrelAid team and people from UK. So we were trying different formats in French chapter to collaborate with different people around the globe, so that it became not just French chapter, but actually something like very general. And of course, organizational kind of pipeline, it's through the GitHub and through Slack of CorrelAid. So if you have any questions or ideas how that analysis could be used in other contexts, you can reach out to us. Just very briefly, because I know that I should be very fast about this problem. It's basically there are different questions, but main question is actually how these communities of citizen scientists are evolving in time, how they grow, and why geographically they are spaced, right? So it's a big topic, especially in Germany, I think, and not only, right, which started, for example, with big projects such as OpenStreetMap, for example. And one of the things which we analyze is iNaturalist data sets, which are actually oriented to analysis of the cities, right, and the nature inside cities. So they have data challenges, and we try to help them to understand more their data in different years, right? So there is spatial and temporal resolution. Also, we started recently try to come up with different ideas of how to live in the current crisis situation, and we decided to try some collaborations with City Interaction Lab here in Paris and with different people who are interested from other chapters to participate in educational small workshops where you're also very invited to come on projects related to mobility to the city. Mostly in this context, we try to make it like to promote different more of the events which are oriented on that, and one of them will be also soon. So if you are very also working on these topics, you're very invited to come to discuss with us. We will also have open reading clubs. One of them is mostly around the citizen science papers with UCL Muki Hakli. And again, we are really happy to connect, and that's about us. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Liubov. Perfect timing, and internet connection was great. So all good.
Yes, I was worried about because I was not in a best connection, but I was.
It was totally fine. Perfect. And really interesting work as well. So thanks a lot for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, and up next,
yes,
exactly. So up next is Sarah from the Hamburg chapter. So let's see. I can not yet see your video.
Yes, can you hear me? Because I can't.
Hear you. Yeah.
I somehow can't switch on my video. Okay. I'm not sure why.
As long as you can share the screen, that
I will try that. Yeah, that seems to work.
Nice.
Well, then I'm sorry you can't see me. But
we can't see your screen yet. Have you shared it already?
Can you see it now?
Yeah. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So good luck.
Thank you. So hello, everyone. I'm really sorry you can't see me, but my name is Sarah, and I'm going to present for the Hamburg local chapter. We are a team of 10 plus something data scientists based in Hamburg who are enthusiastic about data for good, and we meet every other week on Zoom, and you can find us on Slack at lc-hh. So far, we have participated in the CorrelAidX challenge, and some of us joined the bi-weekly CorrelAid Tidy Tuesday meetups. We are a relatively young chapter. We founded ourselves again in June, July this year. So rather than talking about our projects, Drenizë and I conducted a little survey in our Slack channels. So we'd be able to tell you what the people that are active in our chapter are actually like. The survey was anonymous, but by the number of people that took it, which is 10, we assume that it'll give us a good idea about the active members of our chapter. We'll start with some geospatial data. So our members live all over Hamburg, but we have 2 big clusters, one in Altena and one in Barmbek, where 30% of our members respectively live. We have some members with a background in natural sciences, such as chemistry, bioinformatics, or physics. Then there are members with an academic background in sociology or social sciences. We have 2 economists, 1 finance person, 1 psychologist, 1 person with a background in nautical sciences, and 1 token person who's actually studying data science. And I think what you can take away from this is that if you're interested in data analysis and you're kind of thinking, well, this is cool, but I haven't really studied it, don't worry, because neither have we. Our members have started to work in data analysis in different ways. Some of us have learned programming or statistics in their studies and are now applying it in a different field. Some, and quite a lot in our group, have taken data science bootcamps to learn about data analysis and data science. Overall, most of our members have been doing something with data for quite a while. Only 10% said they started to work with data this year, but also only 10% have been doing so for more than 5 years. When it comes to gender, we are a very balanced chapter, with half of the survey respondents identifying as female and the other half identifying as male. All of us do have university degrees, and 3 of us have a PhD. Of those PhDs, 2 are in physics, so you could probably justifiably call us a somewhat nerdy group. Most of us, that is to say 60% of our members, are currently mainly working, while 20% respectively are studying or both working and studying. When it comes to programming, 70% of our chapter prefer to use Python and 30% prefer to use R. We also have 1 person to go for data analysis. Among the Python users, we have a big fan base of scikit-learn and some users of SciPy, Jupyter Notebook, and Matplotlib. And our 3 R users didn't specify any preferred packages. If the programming coding, all of us will turn to Stack Overflow for help. Some of us also like to use YouTube, GitHub, and Medium.com to find resources, solutions, and information. On a less professional note, if they were to choose between cats and dogs, a respective 25% of our members would choose cats or dogs, while half of our members will simply pet anything that won't bite them. Our chapter is also really heavy in coffee drinkers, 80% of our members stating that they prefer to drink coffee, with only 1 token team member and 1 member who likes to drink either. All of us are interested in data for good, so we asked our members which type of NGO or NPO work they're most interested in. And it turns out that various topics are important to our members, so we tried to cluster them and came up with those 7 clusters. As you can see, we are not only diverse in respect to our academic background, but also in our interests, which I think is really cool, because whatever topic we're working on, there's probably going to be someone who knows something about it. And yeah, it just brings a lot of new dimensions to working together and to have an exchange. Another aspect in which our team is quite varied are languages spoken by our members. Well, all of the people who took the survey speak German and English, which is cool. Some speak Spanish and French, and there are individual members fluent in Albanian, Bengali, Chinese, Hindi, Italian, Vietnamese, and C++. We also tried to find the most popular emoji in our channel, but we weren't really successful as we have an even tie between those 5 contestants. So to be honest, we have a clear favorite. We also wanted to ask, we also asked our members whether they would rather go to the moon or the Mars if they could. And as we found out, 1 of our members would like to go to the moon, 3 to the Mars, and the rest are quite happy to where they are right now and will stay on Earth. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of our chapter. We're currently looking for NGOs to cooperate with, so if you work for an NGO and you're interested in collaboration, please contact us at this email. And also, if you're an individual interested in data analysis or data for good, you don't necessarily have to be based in Hamburg. Contact us at our email, or if you're already on Slack, join our Slack channel. Yeah, and I thank you for your attention. And that was
that was really fun. People really liked it. So if we want to bring CorrelAid to the moon or to the Mars, we know where we find the people to do that, right?
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Well, then
yeah, I
up
guess
next we have Pia and Flo for the Munich chapter. So I already see Flo here. So I hope Pia is also here. Yes, she is. Okay. Hi, Flo. Hi, Pia.
Hi.
Okay. Okay, I can hear you well, so I hope the screen sharing is working. But that looks good.
Good, perfect.
Okay.
So let's start. We are Pia and Flo, and we will introduce you to the Correlate Munich team. Interesting thing first, we are the most southern team of Correlate. Also, Correlate grew super much in the last years. We are still the most southern team. And we even have members from Italy, and they also joined the Correlate Munich team. And if you think about Munich, you come up with pictures like these. People going to the Oktoberfest, getting way too drunk, kind of overrated festival, also being two very, very close together. But there's also a different side to Munich, because that's not all. You can also do things like these, going surfing in the middle of Munich. Kind of makes sense because we're so far south. Yeah. And you can do that, go surfing the whole year round. Even in winter, there are a lot of surfers, and you can watch them surfing. There are always a lot of spectators. But the best thing about Munich is Correlate Munich. So these are some faces that may look familiar to you. And we're already 31 people. So we grew very, very much in the last half year. And yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, and yeah, we were founded we started the Correlate Munich sessions in May, and we're meeting every month at the first Tuesday every month. And then we thought about, yeah, we should do like a small meeting in real life, and we did it in the middle of the year. And we met there, and then we started with the CorrelAidX challenge. And we thought about what can we do, what should we do, and we came up with a chatbot. And so the idea of the chatbot, it's called Charlie. And the idea of Charlie is that we have like a small chatbot that will give you more information about Bavarian. And it's not super intelligent. There's no deep learning or anything integrated. It's more or less like a rule-based chatbot. And he will ask you things like how you are, who you are, and have you been to Bavaria? And then you can say small things like, no, I've never been here, and he answers you in context related. So he says like, that's kind of bad that you've not been here. And more to the technical aspects, Pia already probably told you yesterday if you have attended. Yeah, and if you say something, okay, I'm interested, for example, in the city of Bayreuth, and then the chatbot will ask you for what topic are you interested, and then you, for example, can say 3, and it gives you a kind of related, looks for the topic that's closest, and we've done it with natural language processing, and it will look for the closest thing, and that's forest in this. But you can also do whole plot to the whole Bavaria, and you can, for example, ask for the job density, and it will calculate a plot for Bavaria and give you a nice overview of the job density. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an internal project, but our first real-life project is also about to start. It's a project with Naclario, which is a platform that matches volunteer tutors with students, which was, of course, especially very helpful when all the schools were closed during Corona. So if you're wondering what the work on the project has been so far, we first contacted the founder, and he was immediately interested to work with us. And then last week we all met online for a brainstorming session, which was quite productive as Naclario had already brought a lot of ideas. we are still discussing what the exact project will be. Like one idea would be to automate the process of verification on the platform by image processing. And we might as well just develop a data strategy together with them, or maybe improve and analyze feedback data. So we'll see, we'll have to discuss this with them. And apart from the projects, we are also doing some PR, or at least try to. 2 weeks ago, we were contacted by the BR, which is Bayerischer Rundfunk, for an interview, which was quite surprising for us because we are relatively new in Munich, but they somehow have heard about Correlate in Munich. And in this interview, we talked about general Correlate projects a little, and a bit about what data science is, actually, because a lot of people don't really know what the word exactly means. And this interview, it will be on the radio on the 10th of November, but like I don't know the exact time yet, but let's see. Maybe you also have another interview like in the future. I mean, we don't know. We also don't know how big the CorrelAidX chapter in Munich is going to become, because it has already grown surprisingly much in the past months. So right now we are only planning for the next month. For example, in January, we applied for the Münchner Freiwilligenmesse in January and also got accepted. It's a fair that lasts about 10 days. So we will need some program for this. We are thinking about producing a video and like offering Q&A sessions and other stuff. We will see. It will be some work, but hopefully it will be worth it. And we'll find NPOs to work with, like hopefully, and other volunteers that are interested and want to be part of our local chapter. And hopefully it will also be fun when we talk to a lot of people. Like this is what it looked like last year. This year, of course, it will be online. But basically we're used to doing everything online because from the beginning on, we have done everything online as Corona already existed when we started our local chapter, which of course doesn't make it easier, especially for community events. But we still think that community events are important. So we are planning our next winter get together for December. It's like will be a board game night, and everyone just needs a hot beverage. And if you're interested in getting to know our local chapter, you're very welcome to join.
Thank you so much to both of you. So we just read in the chat that the interview will be streamed on the 12th of November. So maybe if you know the exact time, you can share in the Slack general channel. I think we would be all very interested.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, and the Berlin chapter is very interested in getting some PR training from you because you're very successful already. So that's quite nice. Okay, thank you so much for this nice presentation.
Thank you.
So up next would be Jacob for the Netherlands chapter. If you are already here, yes, you are. Perfect. Well, that works even smoother than I was hoping. So let's see. Hi,
Hey.
Jacob. So we can hear you already. So
Perfect. Let me see if I can also share my screen.
Yeah.
Then we can get started.
That looks perfect. Okay.
Then I will start. So I'm Jacob. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm normally day-to-day software engineer, and I do the operations for CorrelAidX, the Netherlands chapter. So that's what I'm going to talk about today as well. So how we got started. We had a few PhD students from Germany coming over and want to start CorrelAidX, the Netherlands. So after almost 1.5 years of meetings and seeing, okay, how can we fit this as a local chapter here, we eventually got to a point that we want to make it more official. And as you can see here, the 3 board members made it official by signing these documents, and then Stichting CorrelAidX Nederland was born. So this is a very good step. It was at the beginning of 2020, but we don't do it alone with the board. We also have core team members, and the core team members are very important for the day-to-day operations. So for example, here you see a bunch of core team members that have been around for a bit. We're now in a stage that we are more dividing roles. For example, I'm doing the operation. We have somebody for community building. We have somebody for PR. And as you can see, it's a very diverse group. Only 2 people speak Dutch. So our main language that we communicate will be English as well. And we communicate this also in the world. And here you can see our Slack channel that we set up. We created our own Dutch version of the website. We're on the social media, so please follow us and see what we're doing and building our community in the Netherlands. And we started building the community pre-corona, thankfully. To fill the Slack, we had a hackathon as well with 3 NGOs. We had CarePay, 510, and PharmaAccess, and we did a hackathon, a 2-day workshops, but also data sets that they delivered, looked at it, and created some very interesting results. And for example, topics that were dealt with are, we looked at to predict dengue epidemics in the Philippines, how to prevent medical fraud in Kenya. We tried to reduce, see how we could reduce death among pregnant women in sub-Saharan Africa. And we had around 60 people joining us. So it was a really nice way of getting started and building the community in the Netherlands. As you can definitely see, pre-corona, we could still make a picture with everyone in the same room and on the same picture. So if we talk about numbers, so what we have done the last year and how we have grown. So as we have our own Slack community, we have been investing a bit of time there to get more people to our Slack community. And now we have around 90 plus people in the Slack community that engage with our post, or if you have questions about something. We have 160 plus subscribers for our newsletter where we air the new projects, and we have a core team of around 10. So now I would like to talk about a little bit about the projects that we have done and are going to do. So here you see a few NGOs that we have worked together with. For example, Veilig Verkeer Nederland, what is about traffic safety in the Netherlands, or Garage 2020 that want to look how emoticons can predict a depression or not. And I would like to dive into a few of those cases to show you what we do on a day-to-day basis. So the first one I want to talk about is Symmetry. And this is sort of art house Netflix platform where we did profiling of the users based on engagement and viewing. So what kind of films did they click on? How did they use the website? So there was really basic data exploration, and probably going to do more projects with them later on as well. Then another NGO that we used was Bewegen voor je brein, and it means movement for your brain. And it's an NGO that publishes research linked between exercise and neuroscience. And first project we did is predict the website traffic. We did this with Google Analytics. How are people using their website? What are they doing? We also did another project with them. And this is about writing about the articles that they write and they publish. They had a problem about, it's quite scientific that they do, and they want to make it as accessible for everyone as possible. So for their level of audience, it's really important that you have layman terms. So we tried to predict how well articles would do it on the website. So we created a tool for them there as well. Then another NGO, 510, that also helped us out with the hackathon, where we did the prediction of dengue fevers in the Philippines. We did this with satellite images and mosquito trap counts. It was a really interesting project, and I think it was also a very cool data set to work with. We also did a second project with them, and this is with satellite images, classified damaged buildings after a disaster, so people know where the actual help has to go through after, for example, a hurricane or something like a tsunami. Another project we did with a sort of different party and a sort of different kind of project, what wasn't with satellite images, was for Masterpiece. And here it was really a sort of data engineering project. And we built a data pipeline, or are building a data pipeline, still going on, for the Elasticsearch stack. So these are a sort of priority of projects that we have done. We also have upcoming projects. So we're going to do something for an NGO called Doneer Effectief, and it's about how NGO can get more donations throughout their website. We're going to do something like clickstream analysis, but we're not sure yet because we still have to define a project. And you can obviously be part of that as well if you want to join the Dutch chapter at CorrelAidX. So we also have an online meetup coming up. This is the 22nd of November. And here we're going to explain a little bit about the projects that we did more in depth, also more a little bit on the technical side, and also do a data science for good quiz. We also want to collaborate as much as possible with our fellow sister and brother chapters over the world. So we're doing a data dialogue with the CorrelAidX Berlin chapter. And this is mainly focused on environmental NGOs. So a few cool environmental NGOs already applied. So we now just want to try to get the data science community there as well. So feel free to check it out. And for our Slack or our newsletter or our social medias, you can reach us at the website correlaid.nl. And I hope to see you somewhere here or maybe in the future in person. So that's it from my side.
Thanks, Jacob. Also such a nice advertisement. I think
Yeah.
we were started after the pub quiz last night, and especially it's nice to see the collaboration between local chapters as well. So it's very inspiring. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much for having us.
Okay, so up next is Tilman and Phil. Yeah, they are also here already, so accepting them. And they will show what the Konstanz chapter is doing. Maybe the even more southern chapter.
Real dirty south of Germany.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see if the screen sharing is working.
Yeah, let me share my screen.
That looks good. We can see the agenda. That's also very good.
Yeah, that should work. Okay.
All right.
Ta-ta. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the short presentation of our local chapter in Konstanz. Some of you might ask themselves, why is there even a chapter down in the deep south of Germany? To answer this question, let me take you on a small journey through the history of our chapter. Whereby the history of our chapter is marked by the founding of CorrelAid at the University of Konstanz, which you can see in the left picture. More recently, our chapter did several hack days in cooperation with the data team of the SWR. To give you a glimpse into the future of our chapter, my colleague Tilman will present you our growing cooperation with Open Data Konstanz. But first things first, here you can see how it all started, almost exactly 5 years ago in a small seminar room in Konstanz, when the first local chapter had its very first meeting. And yeah, 10 interested data scientists were a huge turnout back then. And most important, each of the mentioned cities in the post has its own chapter now. But why Konstanz, you might still ask? I think the main reason are our strong quantitative social science bachelors, mainly politics and administration, which produced such grades as Fri, Jan, Johannes, and of course, myself. More recently, we even got the perfect masters for Correlate people, social and economic data science. You see, perfect conditions. From the start on, Konstanz had a strong focus on education and workshops and partnered heavily with the Department of Politics and Administration. Here you can see a talk by the great Simon Munzert in front of 40 interested social scientists. Always in the front row, 5 years younger, Fri and Johannes. But to promote data for good, people have to get their hands dirty and on data. Well, we did both, digging through data from a Nazi forum during one of our hack days with the SWR data team. And the best thing about partnering with the SWR team is, not only they pay for your fancy co-working space, but you get a free video of it, which you can see here. The fancy co-working space, beautiful people coding, and in the end, which I love, how coding looks for the media. All fun and games, but let's talk about projects. The last one we did in Konstanz was for Studieren ohne Grenzen, a university NPO which helps students from regions of crises find scholarships and overall helps these students to pursue a better education. Fun side note, same as CorrelAid, they were founded in Konstanz. After discussing the needs of the partner organization, the project team implemented a shiny dashboard, which you can see on the slide. With this dashboard, we wanted to help the organization to get a better overview of the donations. Sadly, the project is sleeping right now, but cheers to the team for the great effort. All good things must come to an end, and my time for this presentation is up now. And as I wrap up the history of Correlate in Konstanz, my colleague Tilman will take you to the future of our chapter. Be excited about all things to come from our small chapter down by the lake in the south of Germany. Tilman, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for your brief introductory to the history of our chapter and CorrelAidX in general. But let's talk about one of our most recent and still active projects and corporations, which is concerned with the open data of the city of Konstanz. Starting with talks and figuring out potentials and general getting to know each other, we proceeded to being able to take part in the open data days of the city administration, where we presented a few simple use cases. One use case was a simple naive-based classifier, which you can see here, which could determine how many bikes are currently on the Fahrradbrücke or bike bridge by feeding it the current rainfall, time of day, week, and year. I'm not sure. Okay, such an okay. Additionally, we presented a few simpler visualizations and something Phil worked on concerning the interest in the little gun license or the kleine Waffenschein in Germany. Both use cases greatly demonstrated what's possible with open data and what kind of insight one might gain from it. Inspired by the ongoing open data cooperation, we came up with the idea of creating an R and Python package for the open data provided by the city, thus enabling easier access to the data and data scientists and other enthusiasts. But we are still at the very beginning of this project, but excited to get properly started. We just had our kickoff meetings where we planned the next steps and had insightful and interesting introductory talks on package development from 3 CorrelAidX members, Henry, Konrad, and Fabio. Thank you again for taking your time. Our next steps will now be the design of the package and getting properly used to the API. We had the idea of potentially scaling the API and expanding in the wrapper to access the open data from the city of Cologne as well, since they're using the same API as Konstanz does. Next week, we have a first talk with the freshly formed CorrelAidX chapter from Cologne, talking about how cooperation between them and their respective open data office might look like. Another idea or impulse we would like to give and share with you, following our positive experience, is the idea of seeking a connection between your chapter and your respective open data office, and thus raising awareness for the benefits of open data, and maybe creating a package as well. Well, this brings me to the outlook and what lies ahead for us. With our open data connection to the city administration, we already have a good cooperation going on, but we are always looking for new ones and places where we might be of help. And this is one of our next goals and priorities, searching for new partners. Maybe in Switzerland, another opportunity we would like to explore in the future is the relationship to our neighbor, Switzerland. They're currently forming a new chapter, and Konstanz is right next to the border in the very south of Germany. And we hope we can add to our geographically closeness a good relationship between our chapters and exploring the cooperation. This brings me to the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions regarding this very short and brief introduction, just contact us on Slack. Yeah, write us an email, join us if you're from the region. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much. It's nice how you implicitly mention how far south Konstanz is. Okay, cool. So up next would be the Rhein-Main chapter. So we have Alex and then also Konrad and Johannes. Yeah, they are all here. And Sophie got sick, unfortunately, but I think she was like coordinating this whole thing, right? So yeah, get well soon, Sophie, in case you're listening. Okay, everybody's here. Phil, I send you away, okay? Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if the screen sharing works. Then looking forward to your presentation.
I cannot share my screen somehow.
Oh, maybe because we are too many, but you should actually be able, but... Does it just, you can click on it and it's not, nothing happens, or?
I think yeah, I think it's deactivated, this button.
It's deactivated. Okay, then I leave you for a second and you try, okay? Because maybe it's because we are 4 people here.
No, it doesn't help. somehow.
Okay, well then can somebody else just try to see if that would work technically?
Does it work now?
Yeah, now it works.
Great.
All right, perfect. Okay.
Can you see the full screen version now?
Right now I'm just seeing like text. So no, not really behind, but there's some layer in front of it. Now I can see it, yeah.
Okay, so probably I will do it without the full screen version. So I will have to check the time with my mobile phone.
Okay.
Good. So let's get started. We are Correlate Rhein-Main chapter, and if you live in Rhein-Main area or you are just interested in data analytics, feel free to contact us. You can scan the QR code or just send an email. We've already distributed these QR codes across our slides in this presentation, so you can, if you don't want to join us now, probably you would like to join us in the end of this presentation. I will start in the bottom. Konrad Wilms, Johannes Rabenschlag, myself, Alexander Goncharski, and Sophie Dockstade. Unfortunately, Sophie couldn't join us today. She feels sick, and we all hope she will get well soon. And I will do my best to present her introductory slides. Here you can see our beautiful skyline in Frankfurt. However, our chapter also includes the neighbor cities, Wiesbaden, Mainz, and Darmstadt. And we are more than 100 data scientists in our chapter. We are largely working professionals. We also have students, both bachelor and master level, PhD and postdocs. Yeah, we participate in the Correlate internal projects as well, such as CorrelAidX challenge. And we are online for almost a year. We also organize monthly calls and try to collaborate with other chapters. For example, with Paris chapter, we had a call with our colleagues from Paris chapter already this year. And now our members are distributed across 3 time zones during the Corona crisis. Yeah, and access our calls from different parts of the world. We also organize data camps where we present different topics. Here you can see the data camp on geospatial data in Python. And why don't we go on and present the projects themselves. So, Konrad, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So, first, the project is a social project, and the origin is there's many challenges for really new parents, and some of them can actually be overwhelming. And the problem is not that there's not help by the state or similar, but the problem is sometimes really hard to figure out what kind of help you really need to get. And so this is where the baby loads, the social baby loads project comes into place, and they really try to mediate between new parents and support services that might be helpful to them. And we particularly Correlate helps the Frankfurt baby loads chapter to really get better at this than they already are. And so the problem is really they want to analyze their result data, their outcome data, and it's a typical situation. It's slightly more data than they can themselves comfortably analyze in Excel. So our data team, they look at the data, analyze it, and try to again make it actionable to baby loads so they can communicate the results to their stakeholders. And so the way that looks in practice, this might be something that we might look at a service and look how it's distributed across the different districts of Frankfurt, and we would try to distinguish between like statistical fluctuations and actual like meaningful outliers with social impact, with like a deficiency in the district, which are here marked in red, and that's what we try to give to them. And that's all I have to say for this. Thank you very much.
Okay, the Weltladendachverband project is already finished. CorrelAid helped the Weltladendachverband, which is a fair trade shops association in Germany, to report survey results to their member shops. And we developed R scripts and consulted on the questionnaire. And like I said, currently the project is already finished, and the analysis and the scripts we created are in active use by the client. As I said, we consulted on questionnaire. They already had drafted, and this was some weeks before the survey actually took place, and it was done by the client. And we wrote code to create customized reports for each member. I think it was around 80 or something. And the goal was to show each shop how they perform on certain KPIs and how they perform compared to reference groups and shops which are similar to them. So we had 2 hackathon weekends at the Weltladendachverband office in Mainz. We used R and R Markdown to organize and create the reports. And one of the biggest challenges was that most of the client persons were not that technical, so it was quite hard to work with them, but they were very eager to learn. So finally, we did manage to help them. And the best part was we had a rather unlimited supply of fair trade chocolate and coffee, like you see here on the table. And the project was quite successful, and we will have a follow-up project, and we will need some social scientists here to consult on the questionnaire, and you don't need a deep coding knowledge. So, and it will be, of course, due to COVID-19 online only. So if you want to contribute here, feel free to contact us. Thanks.
Thank you. And now the BioObserver project. It was already mentioned today in the presentation, and this is also a citizen science project. It was started in 2018, and CorrelAid joined this project in 2019. We are data scientists from Bremen, Hamburg, and Rhein-Main area working on this project. The main idea is to save the European honeybees. For this project, we implement the so-called precision beekeeping. The main problems happening with the bee colonies nowadays are environmental influences, parasites, and living conditions changing in various German areas. And therefore, we decided to implement sensors inside the beehives. That sensors send the data like the humidity level, temperature, as well as weight of the beehive to the server. And then we clean this data, build predictive models that predict bad things happening inside the beehive, and send our predictions to the beekeepers, and then receive the feedback from the beekeepers respectively. Here you can see the distribution of the beehives participating in the project. There are more than 100 beehives and around 90 beekeepers participating in the project and sending information. It's a very high frequent data that can be compared to the financial high frequency data. We are almost finished with the first part of this project, and we are starting the follow-up project probably next year. Yeah, we hope you liked our presentation, and if you are interested, please scan this QR codes, use these email addresses, and join our Rhein-Main. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for the presentation. Pretty interesting projects as well. Okay, so now we have Joshua. He's like presenting the last chapter, the Mannheim chapter, briefly. And yeah, because we're a bit over time already, but I hope it's still interesting for you to see the great project work. Okay, Joshua, so please go ahead.
Share my screen. Hope this works. So, zack. So, 1 second.
Okay, now he's gone. So Joshua, you can request again to share audio and video if you're still here. Hopefully. Okay, but I mean, we can use the time, and I just accept Florian, who is just doing, thanks for jumping in, just the one advertisement slide, right? For your newly founded chapter. Go ahead.
Okay. So as Tilman mentioned earlier briefly, so we are a freshly funded or soon to be funded local chapter in Cologne. We are just a small core team now of 3 members. That's me, Florian, Maike, and Sasha. So, and we meet every 2 weeks. These are the details. So for starting, we're doing a little project on bike data. We're doing some correlations with bike data maybe and coronavirus impact in the city. Have quite broad ideas how to get things started. If you know anybody in the Cologne, Bonn, Rhein, Düsseldorf area, just lead them to us, and we will be more than happy to get things going.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so that was quick. So yeah, Joshua, you're back. Can you request to share the audio and video? Then I can hopefully see you down here in my moderation.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry for that.
Don't worry. Okay, let's try again if that works now.
So I can share my screen now.
Yeah, perfect. That looks good.
So you can see my screen?
Mm-hmm. See the screen.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I give you a short introduction to our chapter in Mannheim and Heidelberg. And I use the picture of Heidelberg since it's just a prettier city. Yeah, and...
But we don't see the presentation yet, Joshua, just in case you already want to...
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You don't see it?
No, we just see like this, like the screen and hop in.
Okay, moment. Better?
No, still just the hop in page. I don't know if you use like a different desktop, but
that's it's not that easy.
No, it's not easy.
Can you see?
Yeah, now we see. I saw the desktop. Now I see. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
Okay.
So here's the picture of Heidelberg, right? I mentioned. So the chapter in Mannheim is this old that we are, I would say, the 2nd generation of the chapter. So we somehow started again to form a team in April. So we are a Corona team or Corona generation of this chapter. And so we didn't have the chance to meet in person, which is pretty sad. And I'm jealous to see all these great meetups you all had. But I hope we can do this too. Right, but I still want to show you another face of this chapter, which is Marie-Lou. And we both run the chapter mainly. So I'm based in Heidelberg and she's in Mannheim. And here you can see our 4 things we are trying to do. So basically we're on a stage of forming a team and try to get things started. And that is what we are doing right now. So as I mentioned, we try to forming a strong team, and there are already really cool people joining us and coming back. And so we started working on some little things to get things going. which is building a database for, of all the local NGOs in our region and setting up trainings for social science students, since we are near these two major universities. We want to give these students a chance to look into data science and talking to our professors to maybe get mentored on projects and help from the university. And we are working on an entry event to get some more people trying out data science and working with us on the data for good. So since we are in our vision phase, I would say, and trying to get somewhere with all this energy we are experiencing right now, we've set 4 main goals, and you can see them here. So we want to encourage a handful of students each semester to try out data science and join the Data for a Good journey, especially for all the social science studies, since they are somehow maybe sometimes afraid of all that coding stuff, but it's not that it's not that bad, right? And we want to have a monthly learning sessions with all of us and share what we've did, all the projects, and share our experience. And next up, we want to build a strong network of all the local NGOs and use that we are so close to these 2 big universities and really cool companies in the region. And last but not least, we want to run our first, in our generation, the second overall, since the generation before us did some cool stuff too. And we want to do 2 to 4 data dialogues next year. So these are our goals, and we want to work on and putting all this energy in some practical projects. Right. So if you want to join us or want to work with us on these goals, you see our Slack channel and the email where you can contact us. So thank you.
Thank you, Joshua. What a nice presentation. Cool. Okay. All right. So Mannheim, Heidelberg people, you know who to reach out to. Okay. Then just the final, very, very short mini presentation will be done by Dylan from Switzerland. So Phil already kind of teasered the upcoming collaboration with them. So I hope it works and you can come up here. Can you still? Yeah. Okay. Hi, Dylan.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Okay. So the floor is yours.
Done. Step 2. Can I share my screen?
Let's see. That looks good. Yeah, perfect.
Yes. All right. Fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name is Dylan. In a past life, I've been a neuroscientist and academic, analyzing data recorded from the brain. Now I run a machine learning team for a startup based in Zurich. Together with a few colleagues in 2017, we set up a Data Science for Good meetup group, collecting now around 400 data scientists across Switzerland. Switzerland, of course, has a vibrant tech hub in Zurich, with plenty of experienced data scientists working in tech and in finance, who are motivated to use their skills for data science on socially conscious projects. I myself live in Basel, where there's an intense bioscience and pharmaceutical data science hub around the pharma companies in Basel. Switzerland, of course, also has a rich hive of NGOs, non-profits, and charitable organizations around Geneva, as well as an active philanthropy sector across the country. And now we want to connect with CorrelAid and form the basis for a CorrelAid Switzerland chapter, and maybe we can stretch the boundary further south as the southernmost CorrelAid chapter. So in addition to the CorrelAid educational and networking mission, we want to, in Switzerland, have a focus on continuity and maintenance of data science solutions for social organizations. So our thinking is that hackathons are amazing tool for prototyping solutions and building things very quickly, but ensuring the enduring impact of a data project requires follow-up and maintenance. And the logistics of providing this are sometimes difficult. So we plan to link the philanthropy sector in Switzerland with nonprofits, so that in addition to providing the volunteer data work to nonprofits, we can help fund the follow-up work that these organizations need for their data science projects. So as Isabel said, we're currently in the process of setting up an association of Orion in Switzerland, along with the CorrelAid Switzerland chapter, alongside the CorrelAid Switzerland chapter. And so we'll be very grateful for any support, assistance, advice that anybody is able to provide. And I have to say, I'm amazingly impressed at all the incredible stuff that the other CorrelAidX chapters have done, even the ones that have, especially the ones that have only been set up for 6 months or so. It's amazing. All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot, Isabel. And I look forward to hearing from some of you, I hope.
Thank you, Dylan. Yeah, that's quite exciting, actually. Please joining. I was already asking, because I know we took a bit longer.
No, that's fine. I will just stay here. I also put it out of the stage.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Cool. Then can I just say 2 more sentences and then
yes,
we'll be done. So thank you so much for all the local chapters. I think it's so amazing to see the work you're doing, but also the diversity of the collaboration and the projects you have done and the visions you have and the goals you set for yourself. So I think that's such amazing work. Just to be to complete, so we also have a small local chapter being in the process of founding in Stuttgart, Karlsruhe, Leipzig, and also somehow in Hanover and Braunschweig. So 15 chapters somehow all over Germany, France, the Netherlands, and Switzerland now. So I'm pretty amazed, and I'm very happy that it's actually my job to do this coordination work, because it's really fun and impressive.
But you've been also doing such a great job at coordinating that. So everyone in the chat also, Isabel, please.
Thanks, it's fun. Okay, so that would be it from my part, Rhi. So please wrap up the day for us.